Hi everyone, welcome to Amaranth. These are general messages for the collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus and Jupiter placement. Let's get into it. So the first card you have, Leo, is the clouds. And further down it says King of Clubs. Okay, further it says confusion, obscuring clarity, temporary mental cloudiness or misunderstanding. This is the invitation to move through confusion towards clarity. It is a card of moving through mental fog to emerge into understanding. Things seem confused right now. Information is unclear. Perspectives are clouded, but this is temporary. Keep moving through the fog. On the other side is clarity. Trust the process. Your thinking will clear. So Leo, I feel that there is some kind of an illusion that you're trying to see through at this point in time. You're trying to get more clarity. And it happens, it's okay. I mean, sometimes we get confused over things. There's lack of data, there's lack of information, and you want a little bit more insight into it, to understand our perspectives. And this card is also about that if you have any limitations that you have put on yourself, any kind of a limitation that you might have put on yourself in the past, it's about overcoming that. It's about moving forward from that. And basically when this fog or this confusion, when it clears away, that will be your breakthrough moment. So you're just, a tiny bit away from that breakthrough moment. But this is here for a reason. Now, the thing about, when we say getting wiser and, wisdom, the term wisdom itself is the process of navigating and moving through this fog. Because when we question, we ask the right questions, we understand our perspectives, we develop a more awareness, we develop more mental sharpness, I would say. When we try to navigate these challenges, especially, where there is lack of clarity, these intellectual challenges, when we have to overcome these, that adds to the wisdom. That's what makes us wiser. So if the cloud is here in your path, it is to give you a perspective, and when you look back in time, you will understood the wisdom that came from this situation is so valuable. Now, the good thing about this card is that because you're going to ask those questions, because you are going to, especially if it's in relation to a job or any profile, it could be in any area of your life. But if it's in regards to, especially if you're working with some kind of investigative agencies, or it could be any corporate work, maybe there is something wrong and you're not able to understand. For example, if you're an accountant, you're not able to understand that the figures are not matching up on both sides of the accounting book, and then you keep investigating that problem, or you keep asking people like, where did this come from, and how did this happen, and how did this not add up, and things like that. So the good thing about this card is that more and more data will become available to you, so that you'll be able to see things. Oh, you'll be like, okay, so that's where the problem is. Now I see the problem. Now I see the error, especially if you're in corporate and all that. You'll be able to figure things out. Oh, I see, that was a problem. That was a misunderstanding. That was what was written, and that's what was interpreted, and things like that. So slowly but surely you're going to make more sense out of the situation. And once you get a hang of that, that's when the fog is lifted. So this fog is just here for you to ask the right questions, for you to do the right investigations. Because clouds are what? Clouds are temporary. They move really fast. And the good thing is that once you navigate this, basically clouds, when it's cloudy, we're not able to see things, right? Absolutely. And this energy teaches us that we can navigate even when we don't have the end in sight. See, the good point about this is that we're able to navigate even though we're not able to see things. So that's our internal system, our wisdom our ability to change perspectives, to ask the questions. So even though we're not seeing things, we will start, our vision becomes more sharper. The way our mindset becomes more sharper. So this is just to sharpen your abilities to see, to navigate, and to understand things. That's why this cloud is here. Now, especially for those of you that are trying to uncover more deeper, answers, and, situations like, oh, a machine stopped working, what happened? So now you're investigating. So make sure you're able to document all of that, because then you'll start to see a certain kind of a pattern. And because this cloud element, the cloud is related to the air element, you need to vocalize, you need to talk, you need to communicate, even though it's foggy, even though it's cloudy. Because the one thing about the downside of this energy is that misunderstandings and confusion will multiply. If you're not communicating, or if you're not investigating and digging deeper, or you don't have the clarity, things get more murky. And another very important thing is that we need to keep the facts that we have gathered versus the assumptions away. So it's very important with this cloud energy that we separate the data that we have collected, the facts that we have collected, the information that we have collected. Keep that away from your own perspectives, your own assumptions. Keep the facts away from assumptions. So there is an upside to this, but there is also a downside to it. So downside will be to bulldoze through this fog, which means that, especially if you're in a leadership position, Leos, like in the offices and things like that, if you are the leader, you might say that, oh, I'm the leader, I know what's right, even though you're confused, but you're not admitting to it. So at this point in time, you should not, refrain from insisting or putting your point strongly across, especially if there is confusion still. Also, having a false pretense that, yeah, I know everything, I have the clarity, even when you don't have the right information, would not be the right thing to do. Because if you assert your point without having the right clarity, then later on when facts become clear, people might question your leadership abilities. Another thing being that whatever you feel is right doesn't mean that it's going to be right. Sometimes we all have belief systems, we have viewpoints, we have perspectives, and we want something to be a certain type of way. But when you get more information which is not in accordance to what you had anticipated, there is a chance that, you would distance that information, like, no, it can't be that way. So you have to be a little bit more open-minded to hearing other people's perspectives and information and facts which might not align with what you had anticipated. So in order to overcome this energy of clouds, of cloudiness or fogginess or mental, a lack of mental clarity, you will need to trust what's growing beneath the surface. You need to trust how you're feeling, your intuition, because that will be a moment of, the real clarity. When you combine your mind with what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So logic, but heart plus mind, logic plus intuition. That's what's going to clear the fog really fast. Now, there is a TV show which is actually called Fog, and in that there is literally a fog which is causing confusion. People are not able to see further, just like what fog does. And it's very, very interesting, to see how the people that are there in that TV show, the characters, how they get the clarity through the fog is actually very impressive. So for those of you who want some more insights or who want some inspiration from a TV show, you can see the TV show Fog. And I also recall a song, it's called Walking in the Fog. I can't remember the name of the artist, but it's called Walking in the Fog. And that's an amazing, the song is all about moving to confusion, fogginess and things like that. So Walking in the Fog is an excellent song if you want to bring in the energies or get some inspiration and clear the fog even. Now, if this is not your energy, then this could be playing out around you, in your family, in your neighborhood, at a global level, where people are actually trying to overcome this fog. Especially, I know in journalism, when media people, these days there's a lot of quality journalism, which I totally appreciate, and the reason why they have this is because they want to clarify, they want to move, they want to present the right kind of facts, they want to fact check, and steer away from any kind of misinformation, being served, which a lot of it is served today. So there's a new concept called as quality journalism, where people really do the fact check and they document everything, and then they present it. The next card here you have is the card of projection, and it further says, in the present moment, you are projecting onto someone else. This card tells you that any extreme aversion to a trait in another person is a reflection of the level of rejection you have developed towards that trait, or the potential of that trait within yourself. The more you hate something in someone else, the more you rejected it within yourself long ago. So basically, this is the energy of, this indicates the parts of ourselves that we cannot see. Further down it says, unconscious projection, shadow material becoming visible, the parts of yourself you refuse to see, the beliefs about others that are actually beliefs about yourself, and the integration that comes when you reclaim your projections. Look at what you see in others. That mirror is showing you something. What you judge harshly, what you admire obsessively, what do you fear? That's your material. It's time to see it, time to own it, time to integrate it. That's how you become whole. In further sense, this is the card of shame. It's about recognizing the unconscious patterns that fragment you, taking responsibility without guilt, and understanding that others are mirrors showing you your own material. So basically, this is like a mirror that the universe is trying to show to you through other people. So whatever you will refuse to see within yourself is what you're going to be shown to other people. But there's nothing to fear with this energy. It's just about, sitting with yourself in your safe space and, just reflecting on your own self. Just a moment of honest reflection is all it takes to figure things out. You can write it down, meditate on it, sleep on it, or talk to people. And some of you might also be, learning more about this and being a mentor to other people so that they're able to see, their own projections. For those of you, I really want some of you, if those that are interested in movies, to watch The Talented Mr. Ripley. It will actually tell you so much more about how these energies play out. It could be around you, could be within you, or it could be playing out globally as well. Nations project a lot onto each other as well, especially at the geopolitical level. But if you see the movie The Talented Mr. Ripley, it will actually help you gain a little bit more insights into how these energies work. Or one more series that I saw, it's called Big Little Lies. Big Little Lies, that's really interesting as well. And you'll learn a thing or two about how these energies play out in the real world. Now, some of you might be hearing about some kind, some communal violence that's happening around you. And communal violence is a very, a typical example of projections that cause violence. Now, some of you might also be experiencing this in the external world. Like, for example, if you go and buy a home And once you look at it, you're like, okay, this is a great property, and I'm going to do this, that, and the third when I live here, and things like that. So you start visualizing your life over there. But when you buy the property, then you see a lot of disappointments. So just be mindful, don't go like with the fancy idea, especially if you're buying things. You might end up regretting what you have bought. So just a word of caution over there. And we've also seen a lot of projections in the corporate world or in the fashion industry where, a lot of, especially in the prior age years, there were like kind of impossible standards that were set by clothing industry or fashion industry, whatever that was, there was a lot of projection, and because the people who were setting those standards, didn't fathom how much of a damage it could cause, physically, psychologically, to people that are out there in that world. Similarly, there were a lot of, not in the current times, but sometimes, I do hear about, perfectionism. Like, what's perfectionism? Nothing is perfect, It's like, when we project these kind of perfection standards and things like that, there's a lot of damage which is being done behind the scenes. A lot of mental health damage gets done and physical health damage gets done. So these are some of the predictions that actually, might cause some damage along the way. And it happens in the game arena too, especially in the sports world where once, we pick our teams and then, we're so strongly rooting for those teams, we kind of, over a period of time, start to identify with those teams. And, we kind of build our self-worth around it. Like, yeah, our team's doing good, which means that we have a good choice, we have a sanity of decision and things like that. We start building our self-worth around those players. And, it all depends then, if the team goes up and they win, we're all good. And when they fail and things like that. So the team's performance kind of starts to determine our self-worth. So those are the kind of predictions that cause a lot of damage. You might be hearing some things along these lines as well. Now, some of you might see this as, in your working place as well. Like, for example, I would say that we work as a part of a team and one of your team peers or your coworker doesn't listen to you. He's not listening. You're talking, they're not listening, listen. So you're like, I'm frustrated because this coworker of mine doesn't listen. But then later on, you realize that you don't listen either. You're either on your phone or you're just lost in thought or you're just like thinking about something else. Something around that. You're not paying attention. You are not listening either. So, it's surely if you sit and recognize that as a failure on your part, that you have some kind of a communication problem going on with yourself, that you don't pay attention to people or you dismiss them or something like that, that exactly gets projected onto you by somebody else not listening to you. So, whatever you feel is kind of frustrating you or annoying you is something that probably you do project onto others as well. You might be annoying them as well, and that's why they're reflecting that energy back to you, unconsciously, unknowingly. So once you recognize that the projection is nothing but a mirror to your soul, to yourself, that's when we understand that changing approach, changing some things about ourselves can help raise and fix this energy. Now, for those of you that are parents out there of younger kids, and you feel like your child is not paying attention, don't put in the word, they are so lazy, they don't study and things like that, maybe it's, something which is, maybe that you also resist some kind of putting the efforts into the work that you need to. Once we start understanding this pattern and we start owning that energy, that, once what we realize in other people is something that we probably don't consciously look at our own selves. Once we understand that part, then we will be more supportive of the other person. We stop pushing our agendas on the person and be more supportive. So I feel that once we understand this energy more better in terms to our then in regards to our own selves, then we'll be a little bit less judgmental of other people. Because, passing harsh judgments is in and of itself a kind of a projection. So once we understand that, we judge people less harshly, we blame people less, there's less conflict, there's more clearer communication, there's less projection, and then, it just kind of develops into mutual trust, mutual respect, for just being honest, honest about the situation, honest with ourselves, and things like that. So great energy over here, Leo. This is just, a self-growth, self-awareness kind of an energy. And once we realize that, it takes a second to figure things out, to shift patterns, to make those changes and be consistent with those changes, because for anything to become a habit, it takes a few days, a few weeks. So after the awareness and putting in the work, if you do it consistently, then that part gets integrated within ourselves. The next card you have you is a Seven of Cups. This is water elements. Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio are the water elements. And 7 is the master card of illusion. So we start with the illusions. We start with projection. Your entire reading is all about fogginess, illusions, projections, again, which is, again, a kind of an illusion about our own selves. So there is some kind of clarity that you will need to arrive at, Leos. Because again, here, this is, Seven of Cups is like possibilities that may be real, may not be real. We don't know what they have, what those possibilities will offer to us. Because it might look glamorous on the surface of it, but then, all that glimmers is not really gold. So again, here is a big call for you to choose the facts, the truths, over any kind of distractions, illusions, and things like that. So we need to look for substance versus the sparkle and the glam and gleam part of things. So basically, you have to be very discerning. And we've already seen that over and over through your messages that there's confusion. And you need to act with integrity, with humility, what are your value system? What's your belief system? And you need to not bring in the ego, because Leos have a lot of ego comes to play a lot more often. So not in a negative way, sometimes in a negative way, but it's all about the understanding, the deeper understanding as to what's truly meaningful, what's truly fulfilling, what's just glitter, and once you understand through that, a lot of asking questions, a lot of understanding is needed at this point in time from you, Leo, in order to come to that part of where you become more mature with your thoughts, with understanding, more wiser. So it's a breakthrough that you will have, which will allow you to see beyond illusion, or what is real, what matters. We need to stop chasing mirages at this point in time, Leos. What is a mirage? Mirage is just an illusion of water being present. It happens on hotter days, on the roads, in the deserts. We just feel like from far there is water, there's a pond of water. We get closer, there's nothing. So it's that kind of energy. We need to stop chasing mirages at this point in time. So see beyond the facade. See what is like really, what matters to you, rather than what satisfies your ego in a negative way. It's like choose things over glamour, right? Choose the real thing over glamour. Like sometimes we see things on social media and we want to immediately buy it. We want, because they have that appeal, like, we want to buy a pot, we want to buy these clothes, because of the social media appeal that these things have. So when we buy it, doesn't sometimes align with our personality, it doesn't align with our taste, so those kind of things, like social media kind of creates this kind, even pictures for that matter, not just social media, when we purchase online, they show people wearing those clothes in different backdrops where it really looks good for people of that personality, in those situations, the way they're standing, the way the dress is flowing, and all of that, dresses look good in those situations when when that scene is manufactured, when that scene is actually projected. But in real life, when it comes to reality, the material is different, the design is different, the size is different, our personality is different, our tastes are different. We don't carry ourselves the way that those models do and things like that. So that's exactly what we need to do. So online shopping actually teaches us a lot, I would say. You might be learning a lot through online shopping because we get allured by those pictures, and when we actually buy that, we understand that it's not what we really wanted. So Seven of Cups is a good teacher because we identify our tastes, our likes, our dislikes, what works for us. Does it, help me in any ways? Is this for real? And things like that. So we have to get really honest with ourselves. And once we choose a real thing, that's where the real satisfaction of spending money on it is, right? So especially when it comes to decision making, we need to be really discerning, incorporating all of that. What deal looks really good versus what actually the deal is, because a lot of deals, they look really good on paper, and once we start implementing it, we have not realized the inner functioning, the deliverables, and the inner plumbing of those contracts, those deals. And a lot of deals, they fall out because they appear to be good in the first place on paper, but then later on there is a fallout because the terms were different, or they did not align, or some kind of a factor got left out, and things like that. So this energy might be playing out for you, especially when you're making decisions while signing contracts and things like that. Make sure that you're not, signing on the dotted line just based on a picture that looks good or something that looks good on the surface while you ignore the deeper problems. Now, this goes to even financial, our finances and financial choices, like decisions where you invest, where you don't. So be mindful if you're investing into a certain place, an account, or a stock or something like that, to do your due diligence before you make those commitments. Now, also when it comes to those of you that are looking for promotion and things like that, you might be offered, high-profile positions at good companies and things like that, but make sure you do the research work and weigh the pros and cons as to what it entails, what will it take away from you, what will it add to your life, and things like that. Because I feel that with your energies that are out here, the cloud energy, the projection, and now here the Seven of Cups, there is very probability that you might be drifting away from the truth. Something is definitely, hiding or veiling or clouding or obscuring your truth. You're not able to see it. It further says here, illusion is powerful. Discernment is the antidote. Truth is often hidden beneath the glamour, the vice true substance over sparkle, and reality over fantasy. Now, for those of you that are choosing, the work profiles, you have multiple companies that you've interviewed for, or you have multiple, choice letters and selections from different companies. Make sure that you pick the work that's really fulfilling, not the work that inflates your ego or that impresses people around you. Be very authentic, be very genuine with yourself and others. This is not a time to, to perform. I would say it's not a time for performance. It's a time for being genuine and real with yourself and other people. Now, those of you that are in the public media, and you carry a brand image of yourself, and, it's like, now I have to live up to this image. It's not like that. People appreciate the truth. Once you choose your authentic side and choose to lead with truth, people will welcome that. So nobody really wants that fake image. Instead, they want you to lead with your truth and show your real self. And the same goes for networking as well. You know, when we connect with social media, we talk to 1,000 people across the world, across the globe. We don't even know who they are. We spend hours and hours chatting, talking, expressing our opinions and things like that on the pretext of networking. That's not really networking, right? It would rather be connecting with people that are around you and build a solid community where you live rather than be online and call that, random chatting as networking. So that's what I'm talking about with this energy. And the number one movie that comes to mind for this, for movie enthusiasts, for movie lovers around energy, I would recommend you to watch The Great Gatsby. It's beautiful. Or you can even watch Wall Street. It's an amazing movie, all about illusions, how things, get uncovered and the truth gets revealed. And, it's really exciting. Watch these two movies for more insights into this energy. And I'm pretty sure these movies, they inspire me a lot. It shifts my mood. It gives me, perspectives and things like that. So I hope these movies will enlighten you. I'll give you more insights into these energies as well. And a song that I would totally admire around this energy is Fake Plastic Trees. It's a song, it's a beautiful song by Radiohead. And the name of the song is Fake Plastic Trees. Listen to that and it will, pay attention to the words, especially for the songs that I mentioned. It's very important that you pay attention to the words. Of course, the music also speaks volumes about the tone, the tone of the energy, but at the same time, pay attention to the words. It will definitely reflect something onto us. And the last card for today you have, Leo, is number 9. And it further says, your energy is valuable. Further, it says, protect it well. The protectress is the card's energy. And it further says, strength, boundaries, and amulets. So some of you might be into amulets for protection, whether it's your home protection or it's your own personal protection. You might be wearing some bracelets that have, strength, protective strength in them, something which is sacred, something that you carry with you. This could be, protecting your own energy, protecting your own, it's like this quiet strength that you have, Leo, that makes you powerful in a very gentle way. It's not about fighting. It's just that we should never at any given point in time compromise our security, compromise our identity, compromise, our inner strength, or compromise with our ideals, with the values, getting into situations that we regret later on. So I feel this energy is all about protecting things that matter. Now, some of you could be in the defense industry, and what matters is protecting of the borders, the countries, the nations, the cities. If you're in the police, then it's guarding the city, the citizens, and things like that. If you are into data management, then protecting the privacy of the customers and their personal data is very important. So that needs to be protected. Now, if you're a therapist, then again, the patient information, credentials, everything needs to be protected and not given away. So that's the power that you have right now to protect what needs to be protected, so that you are at peace. It's the gender kind of strength, yet powerful in its own ways, protective and loving at the same time. That's what the protectress is. It's like when we go to bed at night, we know that, during the day we have honored ourselves and other people that are around us. So that's the sacredness of this energy. Again, this goes to being mindful of your own schedule, like, productive of your own energies, not overextending, not over booking yourself so that your energy is not depleted. It's also about being able to say no to engagements and things and events that are not a value add, that just drain our time and energy. And do it without feeling bad about it, because we need to use our time wisely. We need to use our energy wisely. Now, for some of you in the law makers or, that are serving the people, this could be about defending those that are weak. It could be that you're an activist and you're defending people that are unable to defend themselves. So you might be, into protective services. There's a lot of protective services, for offering additional protection. Maybe you're in the media, you need additional protection. Maybe you're a brand out there, a celebrity, you need extra protection, and things like that. Now, this energy is not about being overly aggressive or being aggressive for that matter. Just because you are protective doesn't mean that you need to enforce your will all the time by brute strength or force, or become aggressive just because you're protecting. So don't confuse this protection aspect with control, because the downside of this energy is that on the pretext of protecting ourselves, we kind of become controlling of other people. Sometimes we even protect our egos instead of our peace. There is also a downside of becoming very rigid, in the sense that we don't want to listen to what other people want. It could be a legitimate need of other people, of society, of someone else, but then we're refusing to hear that because we're protecting ourselves. Or I would say we are defending ourselves. So, becoming defensive also is a downside of this energy. Now, further down here, it says, real strength protects, it doesn't dominate. Real boundaries create safety, not isolation. Real protection serves love, not ego. Now, this is also spiritual protection, sacred protection, which is our angels protecting us, and higher powers and guardians that we have. Those are forces that we cannot see. It's, the magic that surrounds us, the angels that surround us, the protection that the universe offers to us. So some of you could be tapping into that through amulets and other charms as well. So amulets and charms. Now, if this is not your energy, this could also be playing out in a big way around you, in your environment or in your city, in your country, globally. You might be hearing news of about how people want to protect their rights. It's also about maybe you're hearing something about some civil rights, or maybe about, rights at workplace. There is workplace equality as well. Now, this is also an energy of, speaking the truth, because when we speak our truth, we protect ourselves, we protect other people as well, by being accountable, by not sitting in silence. So some of you might be also experiencing some kind of environment change, like, the rules around the society are changing or something like that, for the safety of its community members or the safety of the city or country, whatever that is. You might be hearing some law changes around that as well. It's the energy of becoming Captain Marvel in our own lives. Now, those of you that believe in the power of stones and rocks, you can also try, or you might be already researching up about some rocks and stones. Black tourmaline comes to the top of the list for me, especially when it comes to protectiveness and sacredness of energy. There is this black obsidian also that tops the chart with its properties to absorb any kind of negative energy. I also like amethyst, which is very, very commonly used. It's not only a, protection against negative energy, but it also calms us down. It's for our inner sacredness, inner peace, to preserve our emotional balance as we work on this inner strength gracefully. And you can also check on tiger's eye or a lapis lazuli is also something that I really appreciate. But again, not every stone works for everyone. So do your due diligence before you take to any rock get some advice onto their healing properties and their strengthening properties before you actually start using any rocks and stones. So breathe energies here, Leo. Those were your messages and hope you enjoyed them. So thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe and hit the like if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye for now.